Sometimes the best stories in golf aren't found on tour. You'll find them at the back of the range. And here's your host, Ben Adelberg.
Thank you again for joining me here at the Back of the Range Golf Podcast. I am your host, Ben Adelberg, and this is episode 49. I hope that everyone had a fantastic Thanksgiving weekend. I know that I did. Spent a lot of time with some family and friends, watched some football, actually went to a football game, and yes, I even watched a little golf on pay-per-view. I am talking about the match between Tiger and Phil. So I have a few thoughts to share about the match, what they can do differently should they decide to go forward with Match 2.0, but I'm not going to share them here. Why? Well, I want to get to this week's episode. I don't want to clutter things up in the intro. So if you're curious about my thoughts, please read my first blog entry. Yes, if you think this podcast is mediocre at best, you'll love the blog. Truthfully, I don't know how often I'm going to post a blog entry, but when I do, I'll let you know. So go ahead and check it out in the show notes of this episode. You'll find the link there. Let me know what you think. We are in the home stretch of Season 1 here at the Back of the Range. Lots of new episodes are being recorded for Season 2. I can't thank you all enough for listening. What can you do to help out this podcast? Well, leave a review in Apple Podcast. Share it on your social media pages. Tell a friend. Tell all your friends, actually. Don't discriminate. Let everyone know about the Back of the Range Golf Podcast. Remember, we're on Instagram at the Back of the Range Podcast. That's where we release all of our upcoming guest announcements, all of our giveaways. If you haven't followed us, please do. We're also on Facebook, Twitter. All the links that you need are available in the show notes of this podcast. Make it even easier. You know what I'm going to say next, thebackoftherange.com. That's where all the information is for this podcast. Our guest this week is Bret Saberhagen. Yes, the two-time Cy Young Award winner, the 1985 World Series MVP when he played for the Kansas City Royals. Yes, that Bret Saberhagen. So why did I invite Bret to join me here at the Back of the Range? Well, to be honest, we've covered amateurs, pros, senior AMs, college players. We haven't hit on celebrity golf yet, and specifically the American Century Championship. If you have a vague idea of what that tournament is all about, this should clue you in. You know, on NBC, you see this par 3 all the time right along the beach, and you see some boozed up spectators heckling the golfers. Yeah, that's the tournament. Well, Bret has played in that tournament for many years. He's always donating his time to play in charity events that benefit needy children, and he had some great stories to share about how he got into golf after his professional baseball career. So, on a personal note, I was always into baseball as a kid before I ever picked up a golf club. I spent summers as a kid at my grandparents' place in Kansas. I used to watch the Royals on network TV. Yeah, network TV, way before MLB Network and all that stuff ever happened. But I used to watch the Royals as a kid, and to get to talk to Bret Saberhagen for an episode, it's kind of hard to pass that up. So, Bret, thanks so much for joining me here at the Back of the Range. Thanks so much for the time.
Always, no problem, Ben. Look forward to having some good conversation.
Absolutely. Well, I have to be a little diligent for our listeners because they're used to listening to whether it's college players or pros. But so let me level set this a little bit here, just to because you're going to need to keep me honest here. So before I started playing golf, I played baseball as a kid. I pitched, I played shortstop, and, for everyone listening that's just really curious as to how good I was, well, I don't want to brag on myself, but you and I had fantastic years in 1989. I made my Little League All-Star team, and you won the Cy Young and led the American League in wins. So I just assume we're just on the same level.
I would say it's pretty close. Yeah. The 89 was an odd year for me, and usually if you look at my statistics, the odd years were a little bit better. So I don't know if your career kind of went that way, the same, but you had something to look forward to.
I actually probably peaked, and everything came to a screeching halt at 89s, but we do have that. And the reason I wanted to share that story is just to highlight the fact that, I was really into baseball. I have family in Kansas. So the 85 World Series that you won with the Kansas City Royals is pretty vibrant in my memory. So, but I just wanted to kind of, make sure everyone knows where we're coming from. I'm a huge baseball nut, so I need you to keep me honest. If not, I'm just going to ask you to tell me like Steve Balboni and Mark Gubazos stories for 3 hours, and we're going to lose everyone except for me. And this isn't just about me. So, but
love it, Ben.
Awesome. So we do our research here at the Back of the Range. You're a alum of Grover Cleveland High School in Reseda, California. Part of the reason I bring that up is to maybe learn a little bit about, did you start golf at that age, but also to seamlessly drop in the name Travis Matthew into the podcast to give them a little bit of a shout out. I know you wear a lot of their SoCal stuff. So did you play golf as a kid? When did golf really start taking shape in your life?
Well, I never played golf when I was younger. It was always basketball and baseball. Mom wouldn't let me play football, so that was out. I graduated from high school 155 pounds, so I wasn't one of those big kids. I was tall. I was 6'1", a size 12 foot, but just not a lot of weight, and kind of matured as I got to playing professional baseball each year. I kind of put on some weight finally. Tried everything I could as a kid, but I picked up golf my first year in pro ball in the minor leagues. A lot of the guys during instructional league would either go play golf or go fish, and some of them did both, and I tried both. And I had fish when I was a kid. I always enjoyed fishing. I wasn't an avid guy, and still to this date I enjoy it very much, but
Right.
I won't instigate a little fishing excursion. But the golf was something I really enjoyed from time to time. It'd be maybe about a hole one round for the first few years, because it was very tough to pick up that game. Golf is very frustrating. I think that's why it's a 4-letter word at times.
Yes.
The ball doesn't move and it doesn't go where you want it to. So it took me a long time to get a decent handicap, get it in the single digits. But I fell in love with it back in 1982, that winter.
And then now, were you still for like spring training? Were you still in Fort Myers at the time? Was that where the Royals were for spring training?
Yes, we were in Fort Myers, and there's some great courses now. That's it's grown up even more, and there's some better courses. And the further you go down to Naples and everywhere, there's. But Fiddlesticks was the one course that we played a lot down in Fort Myers, which was one of the best golf courses going on down there.
Absolutely.
Another good course down there when I was there was Bonita Bay, which was a lot of fun to play as well. So
absolutely, those are I've played both those courses and played a lot of golf over there in Fort Myers. So you get in basically through work. I mean, it helps your career as a professional baseball player. Who are some of the guys in the Royals organization, whether it's other pitchers or coaches, who actually got you into it? Who'd you go out and play with and kind of learn the game from a little bit?
Well, Bud Black, who's the Rockies manager right now, he was kind of my mentor, and he was the one. Him and Charlie Liebrandt really taught me a lot about golf, and I never taken any lessons. I've gotten tips from people throughout my playing days, and trying to, a little bit better swing. It just all kinds of different tips. But I've never sat on a range and taken a lesson from somebody. But Bud Black and Charlie Liebrandt were both left-handed pitcher, right-handed golfers, and really taught me a lot about golf. It was like I said, it was frustrating for a long time, but it's gotten better.
Sure. We're going to get into one of the big celebrity golf events that you play in, the American Century out in Tahoe. We're going to get into that a little bit later. But I just, I looked at the leaderboard from this year's event. You finished 14th out of 90 players. There's actors, there's comedians, there's politicians playing in there, but there's a lot of athletes, of course. And just by glancing at it, I see all these pitchers, Mulder and Maddox, and you don't see a lot of position players. I might have missed someone, but I'm seeing, Joe Carter, Vince Coleman, Ozzie Smith. I don't see a lot of position players. Do you have a theory on why you think pitchers are better golfers perhaps than position players in baseball? Do you have any theory on that?
Well, my theory with golf pitchers being a little bit better golfers, especially during the playing days. When I was playing, it seemed like the pitchers, especially starting pitchers, you had 4 days off in between starts, so you're able to go out and play a lot more. The position players, they were playing, 100 and 50 games out of 162. So they weren't playing as much. But once the hand-eye coordination with hitters, once they retire, pick up the game and play a lot better than what they were when they were actually playing baseball. But I think that's why you see a lot more pitchers than position players, because a lot of position players didn't want the golf swing to mess up their baseball swing.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Now, your playing career, 80. I mean, I guess the pros like 84. I know you came back for 1 year, right around 2001, but basically 84 to 2000. That's pretty. That's before the Tiger Woods golf boom that really made the game even more popular. Was golf considered cool at that time when you were playing with your guys? I mean, how
it didn't seem cool when I was in high school. I don't think I would have ever put on golf or picked up a club. And again, it wasn't around me. My friends weren't playing it. It seemed like if my friends were doing something, or if I was doing something, we'd all pick it up and start doing it. But golf was not in it. So for me to pick up a golf club for the first time was a little strange, but enjoyable. I would say it probably wasn't the cool thing to do for a long time. And definitely Tiger Woods has made the game very popular with a lot of people. And it's great to see him back swinging the club again.
One of our previous guests that we had earlier this year was Joe Buck, and he told this story how him and some of the other broadcasters or a coach, they could just roll up to pretty much any golf course they wanted to, and if they had maybe a Sosa or McGuire signed ball around 98, they could just stroll into any joint. Were you guys able to leverage maybe your work credentials into getting onto some pretty good courses? What's one of your fondest memories from playing golf while you're playing professionally?
Well, it definitely opened a bunch of doors. I wouldn't say that you could get on any course that you wanted to. I know for a fact John Smoltz had a golf black book that had pros from the golf courses, members from that golf course, if you had to play with a member. Just, I'm sure he was sending them off, Christmas presents and Christmas cards,
sure.
Just to keep that contact, because there were some great courses and great opportunities, while you're traveling around the country to play golf. I know the Braves were allowed to take their clubs and on the road when they were traveling, and that a lot of the teams that I played for, the Royals, Mets, didn't allow that. The Red Sox, when I was with the Red Sox towards the end of my career, we were able to take our clubs on the road. So, it definitely opens some doors and gets you your foot in the door. Although I have not yet played Augusta National, and that is a definite bucket list. So one of these days, if anybody's listening out there and has a connection and wants to hook me up, please do so.
Well, and if you're gonna hook Bret up, I have to go with him because
Ben's got to go as well.
Yeah, I can't let you alone by yourself in that joint. One thing I also want to ask you were a 2-time comeback player of the year in the major leagues. You had, I guess, 3 shoulder surgeries. I'm not going to play myself off as an expert by any means, but, elbows, wrists, shoulders, back, that's baseball injuries. That's also golf injuries. And how hard is it for you to come back from an injury like that? Maybe shed some light on, how difficult it is for a guy like Tiger to come back from the stuff that he has to come back from.
Well, again, I have never really had any major back problems like Tiger has.
Right.
Pretty much, if you have a back problem, that's going to shut down your whole entire game.
Sure.
My problem, shoulder-wise, and I've been told that I've got like a little chicken wing when I swing, because I can't get my right shoulder completely elevated. So it only goes up so high after having 3 surgeries. So
sure.
It's kind of a little modified swing, and it works for me. It doesn't look too screwy from what I've seen. I think it looks pretty decent.
Yeah.
But it works for me. And coming back from aches and pains like that, it seems like the back thing, Freddie Couples' back's been bothering him forever. He's able to get by from time to time. But the backs, the wrist, there's a lot of similarities. The knees, putting a lot of torque on the knees, and these guys are so big and strong now. They've got they're generating a lot of club head speed.
Superstitions are big in baseball. They're big in golf. Any of your superstitions carry over from the baseball diamond to the golf course, or are you just kind of a blank slate out there and just nothing bothers you?
No, I wish that nothing bothers me out there. Actually, when the louder the better. You're talking about the American Century, and the 17th hole of par 3 on the weekend is just crazy, lined up with the DJ out there and boats 3 deep, and it's just a big old party out there. Compared to the Arizona event, the 16th par 3. I believe at TPC, is that correct?
Yeah.
Right. I'm talking about.
Yeah, you're talking about waste management. The
waste management,
16th,
correct? Yeah. So it's a version of that, a lot smaller, of course. We're not getting 200,000 people on each day of the weekend. We're getting 50,000 for the whole entire weekend.
Right.
But it's the biggest event that I play in, and all the sponsors that do that stuff. I'm going to throw a couple out there. Corbell, Harrah's, and American Century do an unbelievable job of doing that event every year, and it's a lot of fun. But I think the more noise, the better. But as far as routines, I think that's what I have in golf. It's more of a routine than superstition. It's kind of, your pre-swing, your pre-putt. So those are kind of routines. I wouldn't call them superstitions.
Sure. Well, you mentioned American Century. Definitely want to hit on that. They've raised over $5 million for, charities, firefighters, first responders, cancer, autism. I mean, they've really generated a lot of money for these causes. Like I said, you finished 14th this year. When was the first time you played in that event? Was this your first year?
No, I want to say and again, time flies. It's been 14 or 15 years that I've played in the event now.
Oh, great.
And the last 2 years, prior to the last 2 years, my best finish was 17th. And last year was my best finish, but 2017, I finished 16th. And then last year I finished 14th. So, and again, the last 2 years I've stayed away from double bogeys. That's what really kills you in the Stableford event at the American Century. You're getting minus points. So if you stay away from double bogeys, and if you can make a few birdies, which, you need to make birdies to kind of move up the leaderboard. And again, it's a blast. It's the closest thing to a PGA event I'll ever see. Each and every one of us look forward to it every year. We hope we get that invite back, and it's just about going out there and not embarrassing yourself too bad.
Well, I mean, you mentioned this, hoping you get the invite. I do a little research over here, and anyone can go online and figure out how people qualify for the PGA Tour, web.com, Mackenzie Tour. That's pretty clear cut. It's a little bit complicated, but it's clear cut. I have no idea how this works with the American Century. Do you just hope, or do you just, you got it based on your finishes, or just,
Yeah. So this is actually how I got invited, but NBC, they have a list each year, and they try to switch it up by I think 13 to 15 new players each year.
Sure.
So they have a lot of the same returning players year in, year out. Jim McMahon hasn't missed one of the years at all.
Nice.
But I happened to get invited. I was interested in the event for a couple of years after I retired from playing ball, and so happens that one of my good friends, Arthur Bernier, who I played in a couple of his charity events, was good friends with John Miller and Gary Quinn from NBC. And I got a call Thursday morning before the event started at 7 a.m. From Arthur, and he said, "Hey, are you still interested in playing in the American Century?" I said, "Yeah, when does it start?" He goes, "Tomorrow."
Okay.
So I changed up my schedule for the weekend and got on a plane, and the first day that I saw the event, my first year, was the first day of the event. So no practice rounds or anything, just go get them, kid.
And who are you paired with?
I couldn't even tell you. I can't even remember back that far. And just about every one of these guys that come out and play in this event are just sweethearts.
Yeah.
But I got lucky. A buddy of mine was in the right place at the right time. Somebody had backed out, somebody had backed out of the event. And I could have been an actor or something came up, or somebody got sick or somebody got hurt. I have no idea, but a friend of mine was in the right place at the right time, and they needed another player, and a phone call away, and I've been back ever since.
There you go. I would imagine that you've had just a couple pairings that just really stuck out over the years, that like you're looking over at this guy and you're like, man, I cannot believe I get to play golf with this guy.
All the baseball guys, it's always fun because I've played with a lot of these guys before, like Smoltz and Maddox and Derek Lowe and Tim Wakefield.
Oh, yeah.
So I've played with a lot of these guys in previous rounds, off the tournament. But, it's fun playing with other sports guys, other celebrity guys. You can go from, I played with Emmett Smith to John Elway to, who are some, I tell you who is, I just love is TJ Oshie. Oshie's such a sweetheart of a guy. I see him after he wins the Stanley Cup, just partying up like a storm. I said to myself, I never realized that he likes to have that much fun, because he's always been this very polite, very nice young man. And not that he's not, when I've seen him in public and that, but taking 2 beers and just guzzling them straight down.
There's video of him. I think that was him.
Drinking a beer right through his shirt. Yeah.
The beer helmet. He makes this like 30-footer. Right? I think it was this year. That was incredible.
So Osh is a good guy, but I've played with a lot of different guys, and it's always fun to play with new guys. And a guy that really I played with this last year, Ray Allen. Oh yeah. You want to talk about a guy that just grinds at practicing on the range and on the putting green.
Yeah.
And I've been around him a lot, but I've never really talked to him. So I didn't know if he was a really nice guy or just really a standoffish guy. So we played, the first few holes and really didn't say a whole lot to each other than saying hello. And, by the middle of the round and that, we were BSing back and forth. And, and another great guy. So a lot of times you see these guys at the event, but you never get the chance to spend a whole lot of time with them until you get on the golf course and play with them and really get to see what they're all about.
Sure. Well, I would imagine at that event, the golf is the highlight, but the off the course stuff has to be just tremendously fun as well, where you can actually sit down and, have a beer or just, have a conversation with someone that you've seen around the sports world or even in Hollywood, and just, forge some friendships there.
Right.
There's lots of time for that, I would assume.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's something going on every night. And then after the rounds, usually the American Century tent or the hospitality tent up above, you go in and have a little bite to eat, probably watch a little bit on NBC or the Golf Channel. It's televised right into the tents there, and catch up with a few of them. It's maybe before the round. So we're rubbing elbows nonstop on a regular. Some of the bigger guys kind of hide to themselves because they don't want to be bothered so much. But us little, B celebrities.
Oh, come on now. You can take your 2 Cy Youngs.
You can find me anywhere.
Oh, well, I don't know about all that. So you're. So I mentioned Hollywood. It's not the best baseball movie ever made, but for the love of the game, had Kevin Costner. I just remember that scene where he's, mutters to himself, clear the mechanism, and all the crowd noise goes away, and the crowd gets muted, and you can't. I'm assuming in the major leagues you really can't do that. You can't cut everyone back into places. Do you take some of the skills that you had as a professional baseball player of kind of, calming yourself down on the mound? Have you taken that into golf at all?
Well, it's funny you say that because, clear the mechanism. I've never really come across that in baseball. It was always, I was focused in that,
sure,
from pitch to pitch. But on the golf course, there's times where, you get distracted and you're thinking about something else other than, what you want to do and where you want to hit the ball and in your swing. So there's things that come up all the time that you start daydreaming a little bit and not thinking the golf. But again, it's one of those things where I'm not getting paid to do it.
Sure.
So it's more of having fun and going out there and enjoying myself. So I think if I was competing a lot more, it'd be more focused from start to finish. But there are times when I go out on the golf course and it's my focus isn't as strong as it was when I was playing, in the big leagues.
Right. Well, I brought up that movie. It wasn't an accident. I'm going to have to mention your Hollywood appearance in the 1994 movie The Scout. We do a lot of research over here.
Yeah.
And this is while you're playing. This movie's out in 94. You're still an active Major League Baseball player. How did that happen where you get cast in a movie?
Well, it actually it worked out because it was filmed at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
It was while we were at home. So the Mets, I was playing with the Mets at the time, and actually Doc Gooden was supposed to be
oh, you're kidding.
my parts. Yes, and Doc was actually pitching the day that they needed to film it. So they asked me the day before if I would go over and do this thing with Albert Brooks and Brandon Frazier, the scout.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. So I just had to go over and, lob some balls up to Brandon Frazier and tee him up for him. And thank God for movies, because he swung and missed at everything I threw up there, and it was nice and easy. And it made it, once the filming and the editing got done, he was hitting them out of the ballpark, and not just over the fence, but out of the ballpark.
Right. Yeah. Because, Brandon Frazier can hit a 600-foot home run. And so, I just saw the clip, and I can totally see what you're saying there with his swing. That's not your only appearance. You were in an episode of Married with Children.
Married with Children, yeah.
All right, go ahead. How the hell did that happen?
Yeah, this is, it was actually a few of the guys that were with the Beverly Hills Sports Council, an agency. Dennis Gilbert got us a little bit part. So 94, when we went on strike, and there was no World Series that particular year.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I need to
we went on strike. So Married with Children did a little spoof on a bunch of baseball players needing to find jobs in our particular different jobs. I was a pizza boy delivery guy, and Danny Tartabo was a mall cop. Frank Thomas was spinning this wheel, for something or another.
Yeah.
Piazza was a camera guy carrying a camera around. Joe Morgan was in it. Dave Winfield did the same thing. He was another camera guy. So there was a few of us that did a little thing on Married with Children, basically a spoof off of us being on strike and finding odd jobs here and there.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's a pretty crazy story. I'll have to see if I can find that episode. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you've played in tons of charity events. Have you ever played a PGA Pro-Am before?
Yeah, I played actually in the AT&T back in 1991.
Nice.
That was a lot of fun, and played in the Diamond Resort, which is an unbelievable event in Orlando. It's kind of set up similar to the American Century. And the last couple of years, it's been the senior players playing alongside of us. So there was two separate purses, one for the senior players, and there was a few LPGA girls in there, and then the celebrities. This year they've gone to straight LPGA. It's actually one of their tour stops for the LPGA this year, and so that was a lot of fun to play alongside with the seniors, actually competing during the event and stuff. So I played in a few. They're a blast, but there's so many great events. It seems like I do a lot of children's hospital events.
That's great.
Got one back in Akron for the Akron Children's Hospital. A buddy of mine, Phil Lopez, does every year, the Low Pen, and do a skills competition. I did last year and this year in Hawaii, in Kona, raising money for Children's Hospital. Robbie Gold does one for the Chicago. I forget the name of the Children's Hospital there in Chicago. But it seems like a lot of different children's hospital, which is great. I've done Toby Keese, who he does it for the Oklahoma chapter, children's hospital there. So there's a lot of great people out there doing a lot of good things for kids, which is awesome.
That's great. Well, and for everyone listening, we are going to put tons and tons of links to all of these charities, all of these events in the show notes of this podcast. So if you want to learn more information, we're going to put all that in there. Let's see. Are you a golf gearhead? Pitchers don't have a whole lot of equipment choices that they can really make. I assume you're not running into the clubhouse saying, "Hey guys, look at my new glove." Are you a golf gearhead? Like what's in your bag right now?
I'm pretty much a TaylorMade guy from top to bottom.
Okay.
Not a lot varies from that. The 790s are unbelievable. I actually gained a little length with it, and then the M4 driver, I've gained a little length with that as well. So technology is just crazy. It seems like you get a new club in your hand and you gain distance rather than losing distance. The older I get, I'm 54 now. You'd think I'd be losing distance, but it's always kind of nice to, pick up a little distance. But TaylorMade, there's a lot of great companies out there.
Yeah. I play an M3 driver, and a buddy of mine just kind of gave me an M3 3-wood with one of those hazardous shafts in it, and I'm just sitting this thing. I'm just like, this is just cheating. This is just stupid.
Right? Yeah.
I'm like, this is ridiculous. We have a little bit of thing at the end of every episode, kind of a thing like, would you rather? So these are kind of random and silly, but they're somewhat interesting, and some of them are tailored to you. So would you rather, you missed one complete year of your Major League Baseball career due to injury. Would you rather have that year back and win 15 games? Can't give you 20. That makes it too easy. But if I give you 15 wins, or would you rather have 1 year on the PGA Tour where you don't win at all, but you make a few cuts and you enjoy a successful year?
Wow, that's a great question. I was injured a lot. And I've been fortunate enough to be around a lot of these pro golfers, and I know how tough it is. But I'm going to have to take one of those years back and be healthy and win 15 games.
Nice, interesting. Okay, let's see. Would you rather rewrite the ending of Tin Cup, since you're a Hollywood guy? Would you rather rewrite the ending of Tin Cup so that Roy McIlroy wins the U.S. Open at the end? Or would you like to just completely eradicate the existence of Caddyshack 2?
Oh, get rid of Caddyshack 2. That was an easy one.
Nice. The delay is perfect. I'm totally not going to edit out that delay. Let's see. Would you rather win the PGA Championship or play on 2 losing Ryder Cup teams?
Ooh. Winning. I hate losing.
Yeah, I know. Let's see. All right, so you got a PGA Championship. Would you? All right, this one gets me in a little bit of trouble. So if you want to beg off this one, that's fine. Would you rather get a free week badge to the Masters for you and 3 of your buddies for 5 consecutive years, or would you rather play 1 round at Augusta National with 3 of your ex-girlfriends?
You know what? I'm friends with all my exes, so I'll do that.
Okay, you are the first one to make that choice, sir. But we're gonna.
No, I'm great friends with my ex-wife, and there's not too many that I've had tough times with. So I get to play a Masters finally.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see. All right, so. Final one. I grew up here in South Florida, and at the time, the closest baseball team was the Braves. Dale Murphy was my favorite player. I'm going to take in my foursome Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz. Good
choices.
Yeah. Who are you going to grab for your foursome? And we're going to go head to head.
I'm going to have to go with the few Royal guys. I'm going to have to go with Charlie Leibrandt, Bud Black, and George Brett.
Oh, okay. That's a really good one. That's a real good one. Now, Brett, before I let you go, I know you had a reputation when you were playing baseball of a bit of a practical joker. Has any of that carried over to the golf course?
No, the practical jokes were a lot of fun until a couple of guys got so pissed off that they wanted to get in a fight with me. So
okay,
I had to shut that down for the most part. Being a young kid coming up, I was 19 years old my first week in the big leagues, and win a World Series at 21 years old. Just a big kid at heart. I'm still a big kid at heart, but I love to have fun and practical jokes. And being a starting pitcher, you had a lot of time on your hands. So,
sure.
Needless to say, quit doing the practical joke stuff, and then I still got stuff blamed on me after I quit because it was just like, yeah, Saberhagen did it. And,
nice.
But
yeah, I'm not allowed to do that. Yeah, I'm not allowed to do that anymore. I pulled a practical joke on a buddy who's probably listening to this episode. So yeah, you ever see those golf carts that have the horns on the side of the steering column, the real loud ones?
I haven't. No.
Okay. Yeah, some golf carts have these horns on the side.
Horns on a golf cart on the golf course. Huh? That's
what you do is you wait till you get out, and I'll send you video of this and I'll post it. But you wait till you get way away from the clubhouse, and you wait till the victim is just about on their downswing, and you blow that horn and make sure there's video of it, which there is. And yeah, my buddy Harvey completely took a divot with his driver 6 inches behind the ball. I mean, the video is perfect, the horn's perfect, his reaction's it's great. It's so good.
I love it.
So,
I look forward to seeing that.
Oh yeah, we're gonna send that over to you. Don't worry. Sorry, Harvey, but Bret Saberhagen's gonna watch it. So, well, Bret, this is a thrill. I greatly appreciate you taking the time. We will definitely keep an eye out for other celebrity events that you're playing in. We'll definitely make mention of all the charities that you benefit, and enjoy the holidays and good luck next year with all of your tournaments.
Thanks, Ben. Really appreciate you having me on, and look forward to seeing you down the road somewhere.
And there you have it, another great episode here at the Back of the Range. Special thanks to Bret Saberhagen. How cool was that? Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. We'll see you next week here at the Back of the Range.